Hey everybody, it's Bernie, Blanche Farms, with a video series here. It's October, we're getting close to Halloween, and in the spirit of the festivities of Halloween and apple bobbin, we're doing a unique recipe today. It's something that might not be for everybody, but we're going to give it to you anyway and give you a couple ideas with it and see if you can try something a little different. But I'm actually going to do a hot bacon and apple cider dressing. A lot of times you see a hot bacon dressing on a spinach salad made with some chicken. It's real nice, makes it an entree salad. So I'm going to basically take that recipe, but we're going to tweak a little bit and add some Granny Smiths or any kind of crisp apple you want. You can do a sweeter apple if you'd like. Going to use some delicious apple cider. I'm going to try to get a hold of this stuff before it gets destroyed in my household. This stuff lasts about one evening once the kids find it in the refrigerator. It's a family favorite this time of year from the mountains, Cider View, from Mountain View Orchards. But this particular one's not from there, but that's the memories for us. And a little bit of cider, apple cider vinegar is the other main ingredient. We're going to add a little flour to that too. I'm going to cook this bacon, Blanche Farms ground bacon, down. I'm going to take probably about, I don't know, 3 big spoonfuls of it and get it sauteing in my hot pan behind me. Then once that cooks down, I'm going to add a little flour to that to get a thickened roux. So it's kind of a thickening agent. I'm going to cook that on low for about 11 minutes. That's the magic number there to get that flour taste out of it. And then we'll come back and add some of these other ingredients to finish it off. Right now I've got my apples here. I've got one Granny Smith chopped up here most of the way here. I'm going to do this last little bit here. We're going to chop it into tiny little dices. So we get that nice flavor throughout everything. Once we get that all done, I'm actually going to put that in a bowl with a little bit of apple cider just to kind of keep it from browning until I'm ready to use it. So I'm going to scoop that into that bowl. Add a little bit of that cider. Just enough to try to keep them wet so they don't go brown on me. I'm going to sit that to the side. And now I'm going to get this bacon in there and get that bacon going in my pan, and we'll be right back. There's how much ground bacon I'm starting out with, to give you an idea. It's maybe like a good little handful maybe in there of bacon. Okay, here's our bacon cooking down right now. It's about where I need it to be at. Most of the fat's nice and liquefied there. So now we're going to add some flour to that. Turn that way down, got the little burner on. We'll start out with 2 heaping little, well, maybe two little spoonfuls of flour there to get started. Mix that around real good. It should suck up all that fat from that bacon. That's what's going to make the gravy a little thicker for us. So now I'm just going to slowly let that kind of go on low for about 11 minutes to get all that flour taste out of there. And then we'll add the rest of our ingredients. Okay, so we've got our bacon cooked down with the flour in it for about 11 minutes, and I've turned it on low. Now I've turned it back up again. You see it's starting to bubble real nice, because I need that temperature up here for that to thicken up the dressing. Now I've got my cider vinegar. I'm going to add a little bit of that in there. This is basically a sweet and sour kind of dressing. So that's going to just suck that vinegar right up and make it thick. Now I'm going to add my sweet cider. I'm going to add that till it turns into a dressing. Now when this starts thickening up real good, I'm going to keep adding a little bit of cider or cider vinegar, depending on which one I want, if I want it sweeter or if I want it more sour. If it's got enough sour in it, but I want a little more sweet, but I've got enough and the dressing is the right thickness, then I'm going to add a little bit of sugar to that to get it the right balance. But then I'll also taste it and see if I need to add some salt and some pepper. And then the last thing I'm going to do is add the apples, but you'll see me in just a minute with that. Let me let it get thick here. Okay, so it's starting to get a little thicker. I want it to be a dressing thickness, and you can see it's pretty darn close to that right now. It's going to get a little thicker, which is fine. I have tasted it. I like it a lot. I think the sugar from that cider is just enough to offset the sour of the the vinegar. So I'm gonna add a little bit of pepper. It needs a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. You know, with the dressing, you want to have a little more flavor in there because it's going to be stretched out. But see how that thickness is? That's about perfect. Okay, so we've got that dressing all finished up. It's got a nice thickness to it. It's got a nice dressing thickness to it, and it's still nice and hot. So what I'm going to do is I've strained off my apples that were sitting in the cider. I've drained them off so they're all ready there, and I'm just going to throw some in there. You can go as much as you want or a little. I put about half of it in there, and then you just stir it around. And you want to kind of keep them a little crunch to them. They're going to cook a little bit in here and they're going to cool that down, but that's pretty much it. I mean, it almost looks like an apple pie filling with bacon bits in it, but that is what it looks like. That's a hot bacon dressing. I mean, it's got a nice consistency. I don't know if you can see that real good. It's got a nice consistency. It's got bacon in it. It's got that tan color. It's got those apple chunks in there, and that's ready to go. And you want to serve that warm. So I'll let that sit out. I'm going to let that sit, and I'm just going to let it sit at room temperature or cool down a little bit. And then usually what we'll do is we'll grill up some chicken or whatever you'd like, but chicken works pretty well with this. And get some fresh spinach, toss it up. You can do fresh arugula and just kind of toss it real quick right before service with the greens. Put the chicken on top and you're ready to go. Another great idea for this is you could actually make almost a German potato salad out of this. You could cook off some potato, cut up some, dice up some potatoes or cut them up and boil them and then cool them. Fold some of this in there. Add some basil in there. That's delicious with it, and or some cilantro, some nice little, or just some parsley, and toss that up for a hot bacon and apple potato salad. So there are a couple options you have with this dressing. It's something a little different, and give it a shot and see what you think about it. It's a nice way to mix things up a little bit on the fall days. And thanks for tuning in. Check us out on YouTube, Blanche Farms Meats, and get out there and play with your food.